What's going on, everyone? So AMC stock, we're going to take a look at it today. It's been a while since I've mentioned AMC, but today we are seeing it actually slowly start to raise up in the price back to the highs that we originally saw before the madness that I'm sure if you guys were following regarding GameStop AMC, which was way back in these areas right here. Now, look at it right now. So currently we're up to $14. So our original recent high point looks like around this price at 14.50 give or take. And seems like we are going closer to that area trying to test that high point again. And the reason why AMC is actually up today is because of some good news, which I'll share with you guys in just a second. Now, if you guys have been following AMC since pretty much the starts that you're aware of, people talking about the short squeeze, all that fun stuff. And today it seems like it's more of just good news regarding the future of the company in general. So I'm going to share with you my own thoughts. I've made a bunch of videos beforehand, but it seems like AMC is starting to recover, at least in the short term. And the future regarding AMC is looking quite bright. So just remember, guys, this video is for entertainment purposes only. This is not financial advice. Be sure to do your research before making any investments. But let's go ahead and let me show you the good news first. Then I'll look at the charts in later, and then we'll just share some thoughts on what do I think is gonna happen, right? So currently, let's go ahead and let's look at this news right here. So this was the most recent stuff that I saw in terms of a potential catalyst on why AMC decides to surge, and you guys can see the title. AMC stock surges after the movie theater chain raises $428 million in share sales. So let's go deep dive into see what's popping over here. So we got this AMC shares. They closed up nearly 24% on the NYSE Thursday, and they climbed another 3% in pre-market. So actually on Thursday, they state that AMC announced it completed its 43 million share at the market equity program, which netted the struggling entertainment company 428 million in cash. So essentially bringing in this additional pretty much 428 million of new equity capital that's going to immediately buttress and fortify their liquidity profile. So a lot of people back when I'd say quarantine times, AMC was taking a huge hit, right? And it wasn't the best for the movie theater, especially since people were still scared to go out, let alone the restrictions, the rules. It was just not, I'd say, in the best position for a brick and mortar company where they require customers to literally sit into a room together, right? So now there are some updates that I would say regarding some states in the U.S. at least in terms of restrictions that I think is going to be more of like a future prediction that could potentially improve AMC's business overall. And this was just like the main thing I could say that I saw in terms of the new announcements. But even back in March, it said that it's opened up pretty much almost all of its theaters. States here 98%. So I'm not too sure the exact number, at least today. It's a couple months after. But to my knowledge, it seems like most theaters are open. In terms of capacity, I'm not sure exactly if theaters are, doing well yet. Maybe in certain cities they are. But I do know a few friends who have been to movie theaters. So definitely people are starting to come back, aka AMC is starting to generate revenue again. But I think once the world starts to get to fully reopened, where there's really masses almost not a thing and everything of that nature, then I could see AMC doing much better. But I feel like that would be a few months from now. So here we can see that it says as of April 30th, out of approximately 589 of its 593 domestic locations were operating, and then along with 110 of its 357 international locations. So for the majority, it seems like domestic ones, almost every single one of them are open, right? And now let's just go look really quick back at the actual charts too. So now we can see that starting to at least slightly sell off. But again, guys, this was pretty decent breakout, right? So we can see here, starting from May 13th, now we're up to pretty much a day. Again, we can look at the pretty much the green candlesticks, and you can see the jumps up here. And I mean, this is significant, right? You can see literally just a few days ago, we were pretty much, our high point was around, looks like $10, 83 cents, give or take. And at that point now we're up like 30+%, which is significant, right? We did test this high again at 12, and it seems like 12 was around that number, or like high 11s, that we just never were able to break out. Like for instance, even over here, 1130s over here, tested 12s in this area. Obviously we went to highs here, but then again you can see testing around 11 area, 11 and then 12 now here. And we just weren't able to pretty much break out. But now I think that investors see that they have some more cash on hand. That's a better sign in terms of the future, right? So right here, I think depending on people, because again, there's half people I'd say that they bought into this hype. They bought into pretty much this part, and they've been holding the bag for such a long time. So a lot of them are probably going to take profits because they think, oh, I finally, didn't lose as much, or some even break even. Some might even profit in this area, and some might take some profits, right? So I'm not looking at AMC in the short term, right? Because the business literally is dependent upon the world being back to normal, right? And at least in America, I'd say it's going towards that way. It's still not there yet. But for someone, at least me, I'm looking at this a very long-term play because this could be super volatile. It could, sell back down back to 12, 11 areas. Obviously, this would be like our support in these candlesticks up here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that in the short term, right? But I think first is break out of this 14 area, and then pretty much we'll see what happens after that. RSI definitely, I'd say, closer towards that overbought territory. But the volume, I'd say the volume it's significantly higher, but it's still not as crazy as I'd like to see. I definitely would like to see more volume so that we can see it continue to increase. But at least short term, I'm not really too focused on the charts or the price because I'm more looking at this in a year plus from now, assuming the world's back to normal, right? So that's just my thoughts on here. So short term, I'm not too expecting too much. It doesn't really matter to me what the price, if it dips back to 10 even dollars, it doesn't really matter. But at least to see the support again, AMC's back up to highs, I think that's a good sign. And one thing too, I wanted to share because a lot of people, depending on where you're from, at least if you're living in America at least, certain states have different restrictions. And I know a few states that where basically no one really cares too much about restrictions, and other states are super strict, right? But I like to look at something, for instance, like New York, you can say, and these are just some of their updates regarding their so-called restrictions and what is allowed and what's not. And some of these are like happening literally tomorrow. So for instance, like here you can see large-scale outdoor event venues can increase spectator capacity from 20% to 33% in May 19th. And then also you can see 25 to 50% May 15th, which should be tomorrow. And then also here, offices can go back to 75%. And you can see here, pretty much there's a bunch of different increases. So if this were to follow suit and the other states were to simply replicate a similar approach, again, some states are, I'd say, more lenient, some are more strict. But if this is the trend, and this is only May, wait till, end of July, starting and closer to August, even closer to November, etc., December of this year. If this continues, then we could potentially see the world coming back to normal. Hence, AMC itself would be back in business, and then people can start going back in without much restrictions, right? So that's just my thoughts. I'm looking at it in terms of that perspective. I know some states like Texas or Florida, they've had full-on sporting events with thousands and thousands of people. So it seems like some states are already in that space, but I think the majority has to, I'd say, get back to normal first before I think AMC has, a much better stance. But still, good to see that it's back up to some high points from pretty much the past weeks. Wasn't doing too much, but definitely good news on there. Do share below any other news regarding AMC that you found that would be interesting for others to see. Also, if you guys want to get 2 free stocks fight up to $1,850, be sure to click the first link in my description below. Subscribe for more content, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.